Sorry, everyone, for being late. Technical difficulties tonight. Thank you for everyone for being patient. I had a little difficulty, but anyway, good evening, family. Welcome to having a conversation with Zay. Tonight, we're sitting down with a man whose fingerprints are all over music industry. Dr. Charlie Mack is respected music executive, publisher, music supervisor, A&R leader who has helped secure over 10,000 music placements across film, television, and major global brands. Through his company, $1 Million Man Music has helped bridge the gap between artists, producers, and the powerful world of music, licensing, and entertainment. But beyond the titles and accomplishments, tonight's conversation is about purpose, faith, longevity, and the wisdom that comes from decades in the industry. Family. This is not just about music. This is about the impact, legacy, and understanding the doors God opens when preparation meets purpose. So wherever you are watching from tonight, 905fm.net, Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, or streaming around the world, do me a favor, subscribe, share, and invite someone in the conversation. Family, help me welcome to the platform, Dr. Charlie Mack. Welcome,
Woo!
sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, God, it's going crazy, but all is well, all is well, all is well.
Hey, we're
How are
blessed to
you
be here.
doing?
Blessed to be here. Blessed to be here.
Good, good. So, welcome to having a conversation with Zay. Before we go into the questions, share a little bit of who you are, your upbringing, and to where you are today.
Okay. So basically, I'm a music producer. That's my core. But I'm also a music publisher. I publish about 80 different acts worldwide, multi-genre, everything from rock to gospel to classical to hip hop, everything, and everything in between. We've placed about 50,000 pieces of music on film and television. That's a newly accomplished goal as of this year, or as of the end of last year. We've nearly reached 1 billion streams on film and television as an
Mhm.
independent company. That's pretty good. And most of those streams are lifetime streams from various networks. So it's different than, say, a Spotify or YouTube. It's MTV, VH1, BET, Bravo, WeTV, TLC, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CW, pretty much every network that you could possibly think of. We have some music there and more coming. I'm
Wow.
also a paralegal. I work on from a lot of different legal aspects with various attorneys, entertainment attorneys, and so on and so forth. So contractually, I am very well versed in many different things. I'm also a consultant, and I consult for a lot of different labels. I charge a lot of money for that, but only the people that actually can pay for it are the ones that actually really go for it. But I always try to do the best I can to help people, even if they don't have the budget, because not everybody's going to be able to afford the top tier, but that doesn't mean that they don't deserve to get that top tier treatment. You know what I mean? So where I'm from originally, I'm originally from Panama City, Florida. Shout out to PC. That's where I'm from. I grew up in the South, but I currently live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been here for many years. And, ironically, I moved to Vegas to chase my dream in music, and I actually captured it. So I'm very grateful for, the blessings that God has bestowed upon me just in that light to allow me to survive and still be breathing this
Right.
rare air that I happen to breathe. Currently, I can speak on many different things. I want to make sure that I express this though. I grew up listening to a lot of the people that I work with currently. So the people that I grew up listening to are now my peers. I had the opportunity to perform on stage at the Bellagio Casino Hotel and Casino out here in Vegas during the Paid in Full Foundation Hip Hop Grandmaster Awards, where I DJ'd for the legendary Kool Moe Dee and the legendary Grandmaster Caz. And it was a beautiful thing. And that's my testament to where I come from, the small place that I come from, to this big place that I live in now, and the position that I find myself in. So, and it's all due to the grace of God. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. We also have to keep God present in everything that we do. And this is what the baseline of this show is, keeping the baseline, who God is. Wherever you've been, from a little boy to a grown man, God has always been present. So I'm grateful that you're on here and you shared your story. So let me ask you this. I got a real big question. Where you at? Hello? Hello? Charlie? I don't know where he went. I think he's having a signal problem where he's at. Charlie, I think he lost his signal. Well, tonight, meantime, while he's getting back together, this is an important meeting of really dealing with people. We'll deal with Dr. Mack, talking about music in the films and the movies. Like when we watch movies, he does that, where each scene has music. And so he does music, put music in different genres of, from gospel to whatever music.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, you're back. What
Now I
happened?
can't hear. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm glad you're back, because I was talking while you was gone.
You're in the show. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. So let me ask you this.
I hear you. Okay. Let's see. Something's happening.
Tonight we're having technical difficulty tonight. I don't know what's going on. I was having an issue with my show, and now he's having issues. I can hear you.
What's happening? Oh God.
Charlie, I can hear you. I don't know. We're having technical difficulties. So tonight, this show is based on he has $1 million man music, and they place music in TVs and radio and movies and different genres of music. So that's why I was thinking about. That's why I brought him on, to let him share it from a different aspect of regular church and jazz music. So he would come down and really sit down with me and break down the music industry on the faith side and on the unsaved side. So you're keeping balance in who God is in your life. So I just thank God that he came on and he wanted to sit down and chill with me and just have that conversation about music, because I think this would help a lot of people that want to, get their music established, and maybe they don't know how to establish it. Dr. Charlie Mack could elaborate on how to help people in the music. Okay, he's back. Where is he? Okay, got you. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. I apologize.
That's all right. I would say that we were having issues. I said we were both having issues tonight with technical difficulty, but we're back. So I was just elaborating what you do a little bit. Okay. So let me ask you one good question. In the industry door open. Okay, Dr. Mack, you've helped secure over 10,000 music placement in film, television, and major brands. What is the one thing artists misunderstand about the music industry actually how it works.
Okay. Just to add to that, it's 50,000 placements, over 50,000.
Okay.
But what a lot of people may not understand about the process of that is that, so to give you an example, when I first started out, people thought that you actually paid to get your music placed. I still have people communicating with me at that level saying, how much does it cost for me to get a music placement? And it's actually the opposite. You're paid to place your music. So each time that you license your song, it generates revenue, but then also there is an upfront component to a lot of those licenses as well. So that is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings or that people have about, that part of what I do, licensing music.
Right. Wow. So what you mean, how you put the music in the placements? In what way?
Okay. So there's many different ways, but usually if you're trying to place your song in a film or a television show, it needs to be relevant to that show, number one. And then you need an end to the show, a music supervisor, a publisher, a song plugger, it could be an agent, whatever. It could be a lot of different entities that can actually help you get your music placed. Some attorneys help you with that. It just really just depends. But usually it comes from just the sheer desire to actually communicate with the music supervisor of a film or of a television show, making yourself available enough to where, or malleable enough to where the music is not about you, it's more about how it fits into the project. And that's how you tend to get more access, because your music, if you're placing your music in a film or a TV show, it's not about you, it's about the film or the TV show. And a lot of artists are not able to separate themselves as an artist because, we're artists. So we want to be known, we want to be famous, we want all of that. But the way that I've been able to maneuver, over the years and play so much music is that I pull myself out of the scenario and made it more about the projects that I'm pitching to, like Real Housewives or Love and Hip Hop, or some of the stuff that you might see on WeTV, like the Bridezillas and stuff like that, or stuff that you might see on TLC, like Say Yes to the Dress. I've done all of these various types of shows that are extremely popular. 90 Day Fiance, those types of shows, people.
Wow, I think he's having a signal issue where he is. I don't know. This is so interesting to hear. I'm so happy that he's here. So he's in Nevada, everybody. I think California. So they're having signal issues, I guess. Because over here, it just went from being hot to cold. I'm putting back a coat on just so that I had a t-shirt on. It's so crazy. I'm cold. Anyway, I think he's having a technical difficulty over there. So, Charlie, if push comes to shove, I'll interview you on the phone. I hope everyone is having a blessed and wonderful day. And it's like, you're back. Is he back yet? Let me see. Hold on. Wow. Yeah, he logged out. Something happened. Okay.
So I guess they're just not gonna leave me alone today. It's just my phone is just going bananas, and every time the phone rings, it kicks me out of the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, no, I understand because that's why I tell people that happened to me last week. Someone called in the midst of my show, and I was like, "How I'm on a show."
Right. Yes.
Okay, so finish what you were saying. You said okay, so like how they did The Color Purple, and they
Right.
brought Chicago Mass, Ricky Dillard's choir sung in
Yes.
the movie, like something like that.
Yes. So usually when it's a big budget, like a big budget production, something like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
usually the composer and the music supervisor work hand in hand. So I believe uh, Quincy was the Color Purple, and
Right.
he was the composer for the Color Purple, and he made a lot of the decisions music wise. You know what I'm saying? He made a lot of the decisions, and in that particular position, if he's the composer and he's working hand in hand with the music supervisor, they're either licensing or they're paying out. They have a certain budget that they pay out for those particular performances.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting, you know. I've always
Mhm.
wanted to know about the background of movies and how they place the choir in certain scenes, and then
Yes.
you go into another scene. I've never understood that. Now
So,
you're
so
breaking it down.
yes, and it's very simple. It's really a matter of taste. Like, say for instance, just in general, if you see somebody driving in a car, you know they're going to be listening to some type of music, right?
Right.
So you just think if they're in a pickup truck, they're listening to some country music, probably, right? If they're in a
Right.
really fast, say, like a really fast car, sports car, they're probably listening to some rock music or some hip hop or something,
Right.
right? If it's a woman and she's driving in her station wagon and she's crying, it's gonna be some sad song playing.
Wow. Okay.
You
Wow.
see, so
Yes.
so it so it's really the dynamic of the scene that actually shapes that's why I say it's not about the artist, it's really about the project that you're
Okay.
working on
Right.
musically. Yeah.
Okay, let's do something like this. For independent artists watching tonight, what is the biggest mistake musicians, okay, hold on. Independent artists watching tonight, what is the biggest mistake musicians make when trying to break it into the licensing and
Hmm.
placements?
Uh, the biggest mistake is that they oversell themselves and they underdeliver. A lot of times, what we do is we feel like we've heard, oh yeah, such and such got $50,000 for a placement, or such and such got $5,000 for a placement, or whatever it might be. And then you approach someone with that information, not really having done the research yourself. So sometimes a lot of the biggest mistake, at least from people pitching music to me, from the music supervisor side, the biggest mistake is they have expectations when they should have not very many. The expectation should be that they get their music into the film or they get their music into the project or whatever that might be, not necessarily focused on how much money you're going to make up front. Because sometimes you can make a whole lot of money over a period of time or make a lot of money in one shot, and that's all you ever get. And
Right.
if you just, just as well as I do, if you get a bunch of money, chances are you're gonna blow it and you're gonna be looking for that bag again. And by the time you blow it, you're gonna be out and it's gonna be, it's gonna be a situation.
Right.
Whereas on the back end with royalties, you're gonna consistently see money come in on over a period of time. So it won't be so much of a just a shock. You get a check for 50 grand. Yeah, you popping bottles, you're doing all this stuff, you're at the club, you know what I'm saying? You're doing all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna go buy, all the stuff that you ever wanted to buy that you think that you wanted to buy, and then you're gonna be broke and out of money, and then there won't be any residuals coming in for quite some time,
Right.
especially with films and TV shows. So if we take films, because films don't necessarily pay until they actually go to television, the back end royalties. So that's why they usually get a decent amount of money up front for a film, like an actual theatrical release. Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
So like give me like an example. How does that work?
So when a film producer or a production company is making a film, they have a set budget that they're going to spend on music. And that
Right.
budget is usually controlled by the music supervisor or the producer himself. It just depends on how the dynamic works. When you are giving that budget, you have to make a decision on how much you're willing to pay and how much value a song has. So to give you an example, I worked on a film called Hip Hop Family Christmas some years back. It's still pretty popular, and Christmas movies are like my jam. It wasn't before, but now they really are my jam. And I just happen to have done quite a few Christmas movies, urban, in fact. But this particular one stars Redman plays the dad, MC Lyte plays the mom, Soraya McNeil plays the daughter of them, as well as Terrence J plays the son. Carrie Hilson plays a daughter also. Her love interest is Neo. And the last installment that we did had added Cassie and Bow Wow also playing different roles in this film. Now, you know, you think about that. All of those people that I just mentioned are musicians. Yes. Every one of them are musicians. They sing, they rap, they do all their, and they're all super talented, very high end, you know, top notch, right? So when you're dealing with a situation like that, a lot of them are going to want their music in those shows. But and a lot of them do have their music in those films. But in this particular instance, we needed to license something that was a little bit more on the Christmas side for a particular scene with Terrence J and Cassie playing his love interest in this film. And the way that it went was we wanted to license Christmas in Hollis, Run DMC, you know, that Backdoor Santa, you know, that whole thing, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up licensing the song for about 5 figures on the higher side. And it was a lot of scrutiny that went into it, but it was a part of the budget that we had to pay that money out in order to be able to license that song for the scene that we wanted to use it for. So that was a part of the budget. Now, there were other independent artists that I placed in this film that may have only got $500 for their song. They may have only got $5,000 for their song. They may have got $15,000 for their song. It just depends on the value of the song and the weight that song is going to carry in the project. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I always advise artists in that instance. I said, well, you know, the object is not necessarily how much you make, because credentials have a lot of monetary value. So you want to make sure that you get the credential. The placement is the value, not necessarily the money. Even though we all want to get paid, we got to pay our bills. And, you know, a lot of us are entertainers that earn money as, you know, we do music for a living. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're not going to be going around just giving things away. But at the same time, somebody else might, and it might cut you out, and they may even sound better than you. So you don't want to take a chance on somebody saying, oh, well, we'll just go get, you know, Joe Schmo from over here, when you already had your music in front of them and you had their attention. They liked what you had, but you demanded too much. Right. You know.
Wow. So, yeah. So let me ask you this. This is a faith in the mainstream industry.
Yes.
Question. You've worked in spaces where faith isn't always the center. How did you stay grounded in God while building influence in mainstream industry?
So the fact is God is always present. It's not, and really at the forefront. I am a very firm believer that no things happen without God's approval. I'm here even speaking with you today because God allowed me to live and survive a lot of the trials and tribulations that I've experienced throughout my life and throughout the entertainment industry. I mean, I can't even imagine, you know, like I've had beef with legends for no reason. You know? And I think that, you know, God's hand has been on me, because the thing is, I've always went for, you know, the low-hanging fruit, just like everybody else does. Everybody, you know, you see the low-hanging fruit, you're going to just do just what you need to do in order to survive.
Wow. I have to call.
Yep. Did I lose you again?
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'm here.
But I can't see you.
Okay, I'm not seeing myself. Yeah, I'm not seeing myself. But essentially what I'm saying is that I've been blessed enough, and I know where my blessings come from, but I've been blessed enough to understand that even when I went for the low-hanging fruit, God always moved me into a higher position instead of me being the follower. He always made me the leader.
Charlie, you want me to call you?
Position.
Charlie, you want me to call you?
And that's
Charlie, you want me to call you? I'll do a sounds.
Yeah, I'm here. It's just
The signal. You want me to call you? And I can do a phone interview. If you want, I can do a phone interview. Okay, because you keep going in and out. Okay. You hear me? I can't hear you. You can speak. Charlie, you can hear me? I can't hear you. Yeah. Wow. I think he's having signal issues there. This is the first time this has ever happened. You know, things happen. So, you know, the devil always fighting when he wants, when we want to hear God's word and not bring people on, things happen without your control. So if he would call, I think he's having a signal issue where he is. Because I'll do a phone call. I don't know, y'all. Phone. Okay, he back. Is it windy where you are? It's windy where you are?
no.
Oh, because we haven't. I was gonna call you on the phone. I had to interview someone on the phone one time. Virginia Beach was really cold, and we did interview like that.
No, it's not the weather. It's not the weather. It's people just keep calling me. Like my phone rings like Bell Central. You know, it's like a hotline. You know, my phone just rings and rings and rings, and even a text message will knock it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really what it is. So I just keep logging back in every time I get kicked off. You know, I should have jumped on my iPad or something. But you're
a busy man then.
I've been very blessed, man. Yeah, people keep me jumping through a lot of hoops. Absolutely.
No. So let me ask you this. What separates the artist who gets opportunities from those who stay talented but overlooked?
So I think it's really more about the artists that have the talent have an expectation of success. You know, they have an expectation that they're entitled. You know, they feel like, you know, I'm so good, I deserve, and somebody's gonna find me. You know, whereas artists that are a little bit more, you know, unsure of themselves, they're a little bit more ambitious. They use their they use their resources and a lot more effectively than someone that's super talented that feels like they're entitled to something. So that's kind of what happens. And honestly, I think taking the chance sometimes with some artists are afraid that they're going to get burned or something is not real. And then when they kind of defeat themselves before they even start. You know, what I used to tell a lot, or still to this day, I tell a lot of my clients, you know, when I'm consulting them and trying to get them to move forward on a project, I say, well, how many songs do you actually have on your hard drive, right? and how many songs do you actually have on the market that's released, that's streaming, that people can view and listen to. And usually the ratio is astronomically on the hard drive as opposed to what's actually been released. And the reason for that is because they are afraid to release. They're waiting for the perfect time to drop this, whatever or whatever. And my attitude about it is that all that music that's sitting on your hard drive is doing nothing for you. You have to put it out there in order for it to actually generate anything. Even if you're waiting for this big magical deal to happen, or you're waiting on, the next Kendrick Lamar record or the next Beyonce record or whatever, you're trying to get on that level, waiting on them to, it's going to be a long time. You know what I'm saying? So you have to move. It's like 100% of nothing is still nothing. So that hard drive that you got all that music on, put it out.
So that the hard drive is basically like a calendar, like a collection, like how Michael Jackson have a calendar of music, collection of music.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's basically his catalog. And a lot of times, and that's really what has happened with me. When we place music, we're not placing just 1 or 2 records. We're placing a few hundred at a time. So we're going in and we're saying, okay, well, this show is doing really well. We have music that fits for this show. We want to take over the music side of the show, so you don't have to go anywhere else. One-stop shop. We're going to license everything to you.
So what are the artists that you have worked with?
Oh my God. I mean,
give me your top 10.
Oh, let's see. I mean, now when you say top 10, are you saying from a talent aspect or just overall?
Overall.
Okay, my favorite, let's see, I got to look at my wall of fame. Let's see, because I have a lot of photos up here. Okay, so my favorite person, the favorite person that I work with, or that I've had any kind of, dealings with, probably Maya Harrison. I love Maya. Such a sweet spirit, you know what I'm saying? And super talented. She still can sing. She's still beautiful. She has a beautiful spirit inside and out. Molly Music is another one. He's inspirational gospel. He's signed to RCA Inspiration, same label Kurt Franklin is on, and so on and so forth. And I don't know. Some people, Kurt Franklin. Depends on when you talk. Depends on what time of day you're talking about him.
Right.
Let's see. I do think. Like I gotta mention Kumo D, you know what I'm saying, because he's a legend, and also Grandmaster Caz, legendary. Let's see. Professionally, I love some of the stuff that I've been able to do. Like, say for instance, I'm just a fan of music, I guess. So it's really hard for me to say, beyond that, who's like my top, you know what I'm saying? But if I think I'll leave it there, because I don't want to, embarrass myself either. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, I just want to know if you did like Tyler Perry or like his movies. He always has music in his movies, so that was like saying like something like that.
Right. So no, I have not been blessed with Tyler Perry films yet, but. From the perspective of saying maybe a network, I guess Jamie Foxx, he has to be on the list.
He's good.
Jamie is great. Jamie is super talented in ways that people don't even understand. It's unbelievable, really. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Super talented. Public Enemy, Flavor Flav, and Chuck D. They're certainly on the list. I'm a big fan of Cool G rap. I like old school hip hop.
Me too.
Let's see. From a film and TV perspective, though, I mean, I really just have networks. You know what I'm saying? Just like I mentioned, like this, CBS, NBC, ABC, MTV, VH1, BET. I can just rattle them on, because there's so many of them that we've been blessed enough to work with. But then, some of them are a little easier. And then some of them are not as easy. So I guess it just really depends on, It depends on the shows, really. So the shows are really what shine, on my side of things, really. Yeah.
So how do you, when you do placement, like say, I was listening to the Jeffersons today.
Oh my God! Don't even start.
How they put music in each one. That's what you're doing.
Right. So Jet the Boy is one of my favorite. Well, we're moving on up is one of my favorite records, and I'm actually writing my life story right now,
right.
And I use the Jeffersons as a reference, that particular song, in an episode that I'm writing right now. So it's ironic that you mentioned that. So we're definitely in line here.
Yes.
With the right stuff for sure.
Right.
But a song like that, and the music that goes in a show like that, like a sitcom doesn't really have a whole lot of music. What sitcoms have is what you call like bumpers.
Right.
Like they'll have something to move the scene from the slapstick stuff to the serious stuff. Or the next scene, from scene to scene, it'll just be like a little short bumper, right. Probably 5-10 seconds, something just plays and then it comes on and goes off. And then you hear a lot of, what you call Foley, like a lot of clapping and laughing and, that type of stuff in a sitcom. So sitcoms are a little bit different. You'll have the theme song and then you'll have the bumpers throughout in a sitcom. Right. There's really not like a lot of score in a sitcom. I mean, sometimes you might hear when they're trying to be quirky or funny, you hear like some scary music playing or something like that, or some something a little bit more whimsical for somebody that's like a cartoonish type vibe or something, violins or something. It makes it more interesting. But yeah, sitcoms are a lot different when it comes to music placement for sure.
So like how we sit here and watch different different musical artists, like maybe Jennifer Holiday or
yes,
or the dancing in the background. So it has different scenes that's taken in the video. So you do it like that,
right? So when you okay, so usually this is my process. When I'm working on a film, I usually will get the entire film before anything's added to it. No sound effects, no special effects. No, it's just dry. It's just acting, cut, acting, cut, acting, cut. And it's all kind of sequenced into the finished film, but it's not complete. It's not locked. And then after I get that, then I get an idea of what type of sound the film is going for. A lot of times, working with directors, they're going to tell you what they want. And then they expect you to, some directors will expect you to just figure it out. So the producers. So it really just depends. But I usually get the full length director's cut. I lay out all the music that I want to put into the film, and then I actually start going back and finding, like, say for instance, if I go in and I put a Jay-Z record in a temporary spot, that's a placeholder. So now I got to go, because I'm not buying Jay-Z's song. You know what I'm saying? Because Jay-Z gonna want $1 million for his record or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to go find a record that sounds like Jay-Z. I have to go for somebody that I can afford, because a lot of times it's not really necessarily about what you want, it's what you can pay for.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like I love James Brown. James Brown is like I'm a big fan of James Brown's music. But I can't go and just license James Brown without going through the scrutiny of going through all of the different red tape to actually license that record.
Right.
Same thing, if you want to go in Silver and Gold, I mentioned Kirk Franklin. If you want to go license that, there's some red tape with that. It's not going to be just a simple thing that you can just go and just take the song and put it in there and say it's done. There's licensing agreements that have to be signed off on. There's usually two sides, the publisher side and the sync side, which is basically the master and the publishing, right? So the master recording is the actual physical recording that they recorded in the studio, has all of the melodies and the vocals and all of that. The publishing is what is the actual the ownership of the publishers that actually own the content. So usually the master is owned by the record label, and the publisher owns the actual melodies and underlying lyrics and stuff like that. and usually you have to pay both of them. So if you pay, say for instance, you pay $1,000 to one, then you got to pay $1,000 to the other one. It's usually a most favored nations type of agreement when it comes to licensing.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
Is it?
No, I mean it's a lot, but it's a lot to know because if I never knew this side of music.
Right. Oh,
So
it's definitely lucrative. Definitely. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Music okay, so the gospel side of it and the secular side.
Yes.
How can you compare the two? Or they just have to be separately?
So like I mentioned, I've been, look, I was very against, like growing up, I still don't like musicals, believe it or not. I don't like musicals. I'm not a big fan of musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I'm watching a show and somebody break out in a song, I probably turn the channel or something because it just irritates me, right?
Right.
But ironically, because of my job and my position, I've been thrust into a lot of musical sing-along type songs. People break out of songs in the movies that I work on, they sing. Now, also, I wasn't really, I grew up poor. So I wasn't like a huge fan of Christmas because I didn't always get a whole bunch of stuff like the other kids, right? So now I'm good. Don't worry. But I'm just saying then, then it was a different thing. So I grew up with kind of a chip on my shoulder about Christmas because, I didn't really get to experience it the way that I thought I should have.
Right.
So, fast forward to now, I mean, I probably did maybe about 5 or 6 different Christmas movies that have done really well. And the interesting thing about it is that all of the Christmas films, I mean, it's Christ. So you got to have gospel music in those films. At some point, there's going to be something that has to relate back to the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity. You got to, because that's what Christmas is. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody. It's the whole thing. So eventually, or at least over the years, I've grown accustomed. Like I enjoy Christmas now a lot more than what I did. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, obviously. And I think it's been in due part because of, my experience in working in film and television. So there's really not a comparison because, when you say secular music is more about the flesh, where, gospel music is more about the spirit. You know what I'm saying? So, there's really not a comparison. You're not like, it's kind of like trying to compare, gas and water. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's two different things entirely. One of them you need to survive. One of them is going to kill you. You understand?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that secular music will kill you. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm just saying there's a very big difference in terms of, what you get out. Like secular music it pulls from you, whereas gospel music kind of pours into you.
And you start crying.
There you go.
So Southern.
Yes.
So give me some of the Christmas names with the titles you've done.
Okay.
Because I don't mind name dropping. Name dropping is fine sometime too.
Okay, no problem. So let's see. I'd have to let me pull something up real quick while we're because I don't want to misspeak and not get it right. So let's see, where are we at here? I'll go in here. I'll look at the credits. Now, let's see. One film, of course, I mentioned the Hip Hop Family Christmas. That was actually executive produced by Jamie Foxx. I had the pleasure of placing his music in the beginning of the film and at the end of the film. And trust me, it was good. It's great. If you get a chance or whenever you get a chance to check it out, I believe it's still streaming on VH1 on demand. It's probably on Paramount or something like that. But definitely Hip Hop Family Christmas and then Hip Hop Family Christmas Wedding. Again, starring Redman, MC Lyte, Sared McNeil, Carrie Hilson, Neo, Terrence J.
We freezing again. Oh my God. I hope this is interesting, everyone. trying to give everyone information about the music side of the business from church. So I brought him on, but I think he's having people are calling him. He's that on so much on demand of a person that people call him on his phone all day. I don't know. Sorry, everyone, for the delay. It's like the devil is busy today. I couldn't get on earlier. Now I'm on, and then he's having issues. So I hope that. Okay, you're back. Where is he? Wow. Hoping that everyone is staying warm on the west side. The east side, I know y'all warm. It's cold over here. Anyway, um, where is he? Wow. I was trying to ask him some deep, deep questions about music. You know, I don't mind. I don't mind people coming on and name dropping. Name dropping is okay. You know what you have done in your careers and whatever your career has been. You can name drop. People love it. I love it too. Okay, you back, Charlie? Okay.
Okay. All right. So hey, that's the cost of being popular,
I know. I see. Oh my God.
Okay. So I left off on Hip Hop Family Christmas, and we also had a number of cameos. Pleasure P was in it. Tamar Braxton showed up. I mean, it was a laundry list of different people
Right.
that actually participated in that film. Let's see, One Crazy Christmas. Let's see, that starred. God, I can't even read these names, so I'm so embarrassed about that. Let me see if I can stroke. Let's see, okay. One Crazy Christmas starred. Let's see, what's this? Is it Tammy Townsend? Yep, Tammy Townsend. Let's see. Jesus, they're gonna be so mad at me. Let's see, what's this? Oh yes, Terry Vaughn. Played on the Steve Harvey show from let's see. And Carl Anthony Payne that played Cole on Martin also. He was actually in that film.
Wow.
That was a Christmas movie. Very, very, very good one. That was on BET. Very good. Let's see. And then we just did another one that didn't even make it. It hasn't made it out yet. It's called The Christmas App. And that'll be coming out this year, in fact.
So that should be that's going to be a good movie.
It's a great movie. I produced like a really big band sound for the intro. I had to replace All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. Like that was a temp song. So I went in, I had a young lady, shout out to T, Cherie Baby. She sang the song that I wrote, and if you can imagine, I'm not a great singer. I know my talents, what I'm saying? Singing is not one of them. So if you can imagine, I'm covering the song so she can actually at least get the cadence of the song. Because she has a beautiful voice. But they were filming me in the studio, and the engineer, what I'm saying, after I got done, he started clapping, sexual chocolate, you know what I'm saying? So he did me like that. That was hilarious, but I've never released that film. I think I'm gonna grab that footage and put it out. I was intending to use it for promotion for the song, and the song is it's called Just Merry Christmas, and it's like a really, really like a show tune almost. It's like really big band, really like horns, and yeah, but it's jazzed up, but then it breaks down into something more like some old Motown. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of getting back into like maybe I don't know. I don't know, but yes, definitely like some old Motown sound with a mixture of big band. So yeah, that's
That
it.
sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Let's do some longevity question.
All right.
You've been in business for decades. What habits, discipline, or decisions helped you stay relevant while others faded away?
Wow. So I think I'm still hungry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm not just hungry for uh, money, or because see, if you're driven by money, eventually that'll get old. So you have to have something else that drives you. And I think, at the end of the day, my my mantra is I'm blessed to be a blessing to others. So I've been able to use that as a way to keep myself motivated, knowing that I'm not the only one that's receiving these blessings. I'm
Mhm.
actually participating in being a part of God's will. God
Yes.
is working through me to give others opportunities. Now, whether or not if they choose to take those opportunities or not, we all have free will, so we can do whatever we like, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we should. You know what I'm saying? Just because we have free will, there's a lot of things that we probably shouldn't do that end us up in positions that we can't get out of. And
Yes.
I believe that the reason why I've had the longevity, or at least because I don't think that I've reached where I'm supposed to be at. So I'm still growing. I mean, a lot of people are saying things like, they're equating me to a legend or putting me in that legendary status, which I understand, because I've done quite a bit. But at
Right.
the same time, I don't see myself quite that way just yet. I still have so much more to do. So I think that having that ambition, some people say greedy, but I believe it's the ambition. Like I remember one time this guy, he was like, "Man, how many placements you got?" And I gave him a number. He was like, "Oh man, save some for us." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Right.
and it's not really like that, but it's more like, okay, I found a niche. And inside of that niche, I know how to play my little violin. I play it very
Right.
well. Tiny. It's very small, but I know how to play it. You know what I'm saying? And I play it very well. And I think that that's where a lot of people fall short. They get discouraged. You have to find the silver lining, and not everything is going to work in your favor. And having that realization that you're not always going to win, but there's a win somewhere. You
Yes.
know, just like they say, you won the battle, but the war is still being fought. You
Yes.
may have lost the battle, but the war is still being fought, so it's not quite over with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen. Oh, man. See, you about to preach.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, let's do this one. At the stage of your life and career, what do you believe in the greater purpose behind the work you do today?
Yeah. Just as I mentioned, I believe being a blessing to others really has been um, my purpose. I think that being a good example, of coming from nothing to where I am now, uh, it just shows that you can come from anywhere, and there's really not a boundary. The only boundaries that you have are the ones that you create for yourself. You
Right.
know, uh, God does not bring us here to be afraid. We're not born in fear. We have no record. We don't know nothing when we come
Right.
here. Everything that we learn, is learned. Everything that we acquire is learned information. We're taught things, and our upbringings, and our faith, and whatever it is that is instilled in us as young people or as young children. We kind of take those things along with us. So I
Yes.
do believe my purpose is certainly I'm fulfilling my purpose in many ways, but I do believe I have larger purpose overall. I believe God is really putting me in a position to even be even more of a blessing in many ways, because sometimes you can feed people fish, and sometimes you can teach people how to fish, right? So
Right.
I believe that I'm the teacher as opposed to the feeder. I'm just going to give it to you. I'll show you how to do it, and then help you grow, and then you have your own fish. You
Yes.
know.
Yes. 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 Let me ask you another question. A lot, for those watching who may not know, you break down why you break down why publishing owners is so important for our artists and songwriters. For those who's watching may not know, you can break down why publishing ownership is important for artists and songwriters.
Okay. So just think of it like retirement or your 401k or whatever. You know, musicians don't necessarily have that set up in that sense, but that's really what your publishing is essentially. This is your legacy. Your publishing is your legacy. That is what you are able to leave behind to your children and your children's children if you're lucky enough to build it that way. Publishing is very important because it is long-term, it's longevity. And a lot of us, you know, coming into the industry are not aware of it. We see the flash and, you know, we see the money and the, you know, just the fast life or whatever. And we think that, yeah, we want that now. So we take that money that they offer us up front, and then we move on to giving them our publishing or giving up our publishing. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing, because some deals are good. Like I've explained, 100% of 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. You know,
Right.
Eventually, you know, that music that's sitting on your hard drive, if you don't do anything with it, it's not going to make a difference whether you put it out or not. You're not going to have anything published anyways. So essentially, the reason why you want to actually have your own publishing, maintain it, is so that way you don't end up in a situation like a lot of our elders, a lot of the ones that came before us, that, you know, they barely can feed themselves now because they were musicians that took money, that they still owe money on the money that they took, and they can't even claim anything because the publishing was sold off.
Right.
And, you know, I can name out a whole bunch of different records right now that I can actually go and buy the rights to, the lifetime rights, you know, and live off of their work. Not to say that that's fair, it's really not, but it's business.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that is the reason why. So when your children grow up and, you know, they know that you were some popular artist or some, you know, you had something going on, they're not looking at you like, you know, how do we lay you to rest? You know,
Right.
You didn't even have insurance. You didn't even have any kind of plan, you know, will or nothing. We don't have nothing. You know, that's really, really prominent in the African American community because we're not taught these things. You know, we're not taught about credit, and, you know, we're not educated on finances. You know, a lot of times we get credit and we go crazy like it's free money. And then
Right.
when they say they want their money back, we're looking like, well, we thought it was free.
Right.
But you
Right.
know, that's it. So no, publishing is certainly important, and definitely a bartering tool, definitely something that you can use to advance yourself in many different ways.
Wow. So let me ask you this. What advice would you give an independent artist who want their music placed in film or TV but don't know where to start?
So the best thing, you know, and I'm not, you know, I would plug my company, but I'm not going to do that. What I would say is the best thing an artist actually can do is watch the shows that they're interested in getting their music into. Wait till the credits roll, sit in the films, watch a movie, wait till the credits roll, look up that music supervisor, start searching for those music supervisors, the music editors, the producers, reach out to them, send very simple emails. I have music that I want to place. Can you help me? You know, and be genuine. You know, don't be a bugaboo. Don't just, you know, don't send them music and clips and links and all this stuff, because that's going to just irritate people. So what you do is you send a basic email just asking for permission. What are their submission policies? If there's a company that they particularly deal with, is there a publisher that they particularly deal with? Then you can go direct. The other way is also to get a good publisher. Good publishers are hard to find, but a good publisher will know, or at least will have access to placement, because that's how they're going to make their revenue. So, you know, people frown on some of the deals. Most of the deals nowadays, if you're going to get a publishing deal, they're going to do probably 50-50 with you. And that sounds crazy, but like I said, again, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Right.
I've taken all types of deals. I mean, like I probably have maybe 20, 30 publishing situations where, you know, they range anywhere from 70-30 in my favor to 60-40 in their favor, you know. But the object of this, again, like I said, is not always about how much money you can make. It's really more about, you know, how well you can establish yourself and the consistency of it, longevity and long term, you know.
Right. I'm going to ask you two last questions and we're almost finished this show.
All right.
Dr. Mack, looking back over your journey in the industry, what is the biggest lesson in music business has taught you taught you that no book or class ever could?
So I guess, you know, I'll bring my mother up for this one because, you know, God bless her, she's passed and been gone for some years now. But I remember as a kid, my mom would tell me a few different things. One thing she told me was always get a bag when you go to the store, because the bags were behind the register. And in order to get something out of the store, you needed a bag, you know, so that way you didn't look, you know, I'm a young black man, you don't want to look like you're stealing something.
Right.
So don't just walk out with just the stuff in your hand. Get a bag so that way they can't never say you stole anything, because that was the other thing. The other thing that my mom instilled in me was to pay my bills. So, and pay them on time, don't wait until the last minute, you know, pay them early if you can, because the most important thing in business, and people might not realize this, but the most important thing really is having good credit, because credit will get you things that money can't. You know, you can go and take lines of credit out to actually fund your business and fund your opportunities. Like we have a system called Super Success System where we help people get business loans and help people do lines of credit and stuff like that. It's a simple process. We charge a lot for it, you know, of course, and we do deals on that as well. But the thing about that is that if you're going to dream, you know, you may as well dream as big as you possibly can, because that's free. There's no limitation on how big your dream can be. You can dream as big as you want. You know, now how you manage that is a different thing. You still need resources. You know, first thing people ask you when you're trying to buy a track or, you know, purchase whatever, what is your budget? That's in every situation. When you go to buy a home, what's your budget? That's every business. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to definitely, you know, business has taught me that credit is important, and making sure that you have a way to finance your business is ultimately important. It is where people think it's a lot of money to do this or do that. It doesn't really take a lot of money. What it takes is a lot of patience, and a lot of planning. And you can have a little bit of money and, you know, make a ton of money out of just a little bit if you're diligent, you're patient, and you make good decisions. So,
right. Wow. That's important. I ask everyone that comes on, this is my legacy question. If God were to call you home in 10 to 15 years, or even more, what impact do you hope your life, if God were to call you home 10 to 15 years, what is the impact you hope your life and work would have left on the body of Christ? And how do you want people to remember the fruits of your obedience?
So I would want to leave a lasting impression of integrity, because I've operated from the perspective of doing the right thing.
He's freezing again.
Even when it's not.
I don't know what's going on.
There we go. I'm back. You back?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I can hear you. Okay, perfect.
I don't know what's going on tonight. has been a signal issue tonight.
So, like I said, I always try to do.
Dr. Mack, I can't hear you. You're going in and out.
In a lot of ways, okay, good. I think I've accomplished that in a lot of ways to the point to where I've attached myself to enough things. I mean, we've nearly reached 1 billion streams. So that means that our music has touched nearly 1 billion people, over the last 10 years or so. You know what I mean? So, I think I've accomplished some of what I like to, but I do believe that God can increase that 100-fold. So let's see.
So that's the legacy question I asked. No, I mean, say that he called you home in 20 years from now or 30 years from now. What would be the impact that you would think that the world will remember of your work and your accomplishments?
So again, I think that people will remember that, I was a straight shooter. I was straight up with everyone. I tell as much of the truth as possible, because it's too hard to try to keep up with a lie. You know what I mean? So I would want people to remember the fact that, I worked hard, I earned it. I didn't beg, I didn't skim and scam. I worked for it, I earned it. I stayed up 48 hours, 72 hours sometimes just to help someone else. Just to give you an example, I had a client one time, shout out to Mr. Rowe out of Shreveport, Louisiana. We went to the Pan-African Film Festival at Magic Johnson's Theater out in LA. And there was a lot of black culture and just royalty. One of the people that we ran into was Danny Glover. Wow. Now, Danny Glover was sitting in a chair. He had his handler there, and we were communicating, and he thought that I was going to ask for a photo with him, and I didn't. I asked for a photo for my client, and to this day, I didn't get a photo with Danny Glover. I pushed my client up to get the photo with Danny Glover, and sometimes sacrifice is real. Sometimes you have to sacrifice what you may want in order for someone else to have what they need, in order for you to continue to have what you need. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times. So I would love for that to be something that could, that type of action to be something that would be remembered. And of course, that I've been a good father, to my children, and honorable in the relationships that I've had and held, and the people that I my family and my friends, and so on and so forth. Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Charlie Mack, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your journey, the insight with us tonight. Family, the conversation that like this reminds that success is not just about the talent, it's about the purpose, discipline, faith, and longevity. And when God opens doors, it's not just for the influence, it's the impact. To everyone watching tonight across YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or 905fm.net, because more powerful conversations are coming, and it's always great to have come live with everyone on here that tunes in every week and hear me. Thank you for our audience for being part of the conversation. Keep pushing, keep questioning, keep building for the next generation. This has been a conversation with Zay. Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and stay in the conversation. Everyone, see you next week. Next Wednesday, I'm interviewing Shauna on the 19th, Shauna Boyd. Please subscribe, comment, and share this interview. and we will see you again. God bless you. Thank you,
All
Dr.
right.
Mack. I appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you as well. God bless.
Thank you. Okay.